So hello guys, I'm back with a new lecture. In the previous lecture, we were discussing about prime ideals and maximal ideals, right? Clear? Okay. So one second. Yeah. So in the previous lecture, we were discussing about prime ideals and maximal ideals, and then we discussed little bit about quotient rings and Boolean rings also, right? So we discussed them for a reason because to understand the concepts of prime and maximal ideals, we need a little bit of understanding about quotient rings. So let's see. So let me discuss it once more. What was prime ideal and what was maximal ideal? So prime ideal and maximal ideal, right? So P is an ideal of R. Let P be an ideal of R such that AB belongs to P implies A belongs to P or B belongs to P. P is a prime ideal of R. Okay, okay. So P is such an ideal where this condition is satisfied, then P becomes a prime ideal of R. Example: 2z, 3z, 5z, any random pz where p is a prime ideal of z. Okay. What was maximal ideal? The largest ideal in a ring. Okay. M contained in I contained in R such that I equals to M or I equals to R, where I is an ideal, implies M is a maximal ideal. M is the maximal ideal in R. Is it clear? Is it clear? So this was the concept of prime ideal and maximal ideal. Now what about the quotient ring? Okay. So suppose you have a ring R. Suppose you have a ring R. So R is taken as a ring and K is a subring. So what will be the quotient ring looking like? R by K is the quotient ring. Quotient ring. Remember what was R by K? A plus K for all A belongs to R. Remember? This was the concept of quotient ring. Okay. Acha. Now the concept says that, so this is basically one kind of a result, one kind of a theorem you may say. So let P be a prime ideal and M a maximal ideal of R. Then point number one, R by P is an integral domain. Point number two, R by M is a field and converse. Okay. One more way of expressing this is somewhat like this: P is a prime ideal of R if and only if R by P is an integral domain. Point number one. Point number two, M is a maximal ideal of R if and only if R by M is a field. Clear? These two concepts are clear. So if you have a quotient ring of this form R by K, and if this quotient ring is an integral domain, then K is surely a prime ideal if this quotient ring R by K is a field, then K is a maximal ideal. We also know that maximal ideal, if you have a maximal ideal, then that implies that it is also a prime ideal. This is also kind of obvious from this particular statement because we know all fields are integral domains, right? We know this. I'm writing it here. We know this. Field implies to integral domains. That fields, all fields are integral domains. So this particular condition, when implied like this, we can also say that maximal ideals imply to prime ideals. But the converse is not true because all integral domains are not fields. So all prime ideals are not maximal ideals. There is a question which is a direct, which has direct answer in this particular point. The question is like this. Okay, if R is a commutative division ring, then R by A is a field, implies A is a prime ideal. R by B is an integral domain, implies B is a maximal ideal, option C. R by C is an integral domain, implying C is a prime ideal, and option D. R by D is a field, implying D is a maximal ideal. Okay, given A, B, C, D are ideals. Okay, what will be the answer? You already know. We have already discussed that if A is a prime ideal, R by A becomes a integral domain. Okay, all fields are integral domains. All fields are integral domains, right? All fields are integral domains. So this one is also correct. This one's not correct. This one is also correct. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. Now let us come to a beautiful observation. Okay. Before moving on to that observation, let us find out some particular thing. Acha, suppose you have R as a ring, okay, and say K is an ideal in R. What can you say about R by K when R is finite? So if R is finite, coset of R will also be finite. So this is also finite. So if R is finite, the quotient ring of R with some ideal K is also finite. Okay. Now suppose R is a finite CRU. So R is a finite CRU. So R by K will also be finite. Yeah, this is very understandable. Actually, we know that every field is an integral domain. Every field is an integral domain. What if we say, give some condition that an integral domain is also a field? That is, an integral domain becomes a field. Every field is an integral domain. But when can we say that one integral domain is also a field? Under what condition? The condition must be that the integral domain must be finite. The integral domain, if finite, becomes a field. Clear? Got it? So what observation do we get from here? Very important. Notice. Suppose M is a maximal ideal of R. R is a finite CRU. Then what can we say? R by M is a field. Then from here we can obviously say R by M is an integral domain. and if R by M is an integral domain, that means M is a prime ideal. So this is kind of the proof which says that maximal ideals give you prime ideals. What if the converse happens? P is a prime ideal of R. That implies R by P is an integral domain. Since R is a finite CRU, integral domains becomes field. Integral domain becomes field. What does that make? P is a max ideal. That means if you have a finite CRU, so this is very important. If R is a finite CRU, then A is a prime ideal if and only if A is a maximal ideal. If and only if A is a maximal ideal. Is it clear? If R is a finite CRU, then if A is a prime ideal, then it is a maximal ideal, and vice versa. Is it clear? Is it clear? From here we get one more thing. Number of prime ideals equal number of maximal ideals. Got it, guys? Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. So from here we can do one more thing. Suppose we have a Zn group. So in Zn group, in Zn rings, the principal ideal generated by P is a prime ideal. If and only if P divides N. Okay, but P is prime. Okay, so the prime factors of N will give you the number of prime ideals. Is it very much clear, guys? Is it very much clear? One second. Okay, now what can you say about Zn? So Zn is basically both a field as well as an integral domain. ID implying field because Zn is finite. Clear? So the prime factors of N will give you both the values of prime ideal as well as maximal ideal. Do keep it in mind. Is this clear, guys? Is this clear? Okay. 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 Now let's move on to one more topic regarding units. Okay. One more topic regarding units. Acha, what do we remember about units? A simple revision on units. First thing is that U belonging to R is a unit of R if U is invertible. ठीक है? ठीक है? Sorry. Okay, so U belongs to R is a unit of R if U is invertible. Okay. Then what were the units of Z? They were 1 and minus 1. Units of Zi 1 minus 1 I minus I. Units of Z root minus 2, let's say 1 and minus 1. Right? Clear? Okay. These things we know. Now what is the important point here? Suppose R is a CRU and X belongs to R. Then X is a unit of R if and only if the principal ideal generated by X makes the whole of R. Very important. Very important. some element of R is a CRU, will be a unit of that particular CRU if and only if the principal ideal generated by that particular element makes the whole of R. Got it? Got it? Clear? For example, for example, if you take 1, all ring multiples of 1 will make Z. All ring multiples of R will make Z. Sorry, all ring multiples of 1 will make Z. Clear? All ring multiples of I will make Zi. Clear? Got it? You can verify this on your own. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Okay. Okay. So let's move on to our next topic. So the next topic in today's lecture is very important, which is the concept of prime elements and irreducible elements. Prime elements and irreducible elements. Okay. Let me drink some water, then I'm starting. So first, let us define the prime elements. So P belongs to R, where R is a ring, of course, is a prime element or simply prime if and only if point number 1, P is non-zero and a non-unit. That is, P is not a unit element and P is non-zero. P is non-zero, and P divides AB implies P divides A or P divides B. Is it very much clear, guys? Is it very much clear? So what do I mean by this statement is that, so you take any arbitrary element from some ring R P, you check whether P is non-zero and P is non-unit, and then when P divides some multiple of two elements, then P divides one of them. Clear? Just as it happens with prime numbers of Z. The prime numbers of Z are only what we call the prime elements of Z. You can obviously see this from here. Okay. The concept is that how to check whether some particular element is prime or irreducible. Okay, before that, first let us define what are irreducible elements. That will be better. First define what irreducible elements are. Okay. Irreducible elements. Definition. So uh, Q belongs to R is a ring, is irreducible if and only if point number 1, Q is non-zero and non-unit, same as the point number 1 of prime elements. Q equals AB implies A or B are unit. Okay. So what are irreducible elements? So you take an element from some particular ring, you check whether it is non-zero or non-unit and a non-unit, and if Q is some multiple of some element from that particular ring, then either of those two elements are unit. Is it clear? Is it clear? How to check whether some particular element is irreducible or not, that is a very very important concept as well, a very very important mathematical tool. See, suppose I ask you, show that show that show that 1 plus I is irreducible in Zi. Show that 1 plus I is irreducible in Zi. How will you do this? Okay. Acha, point number 1 is very clear. 1 plus I is non-zero and 1 plus I is non-unit. It is having no inverse in Zi. Is it first point is clear? What do we talk about the second point? So let 1 plus I equals uv, where u and v belongs to Zi. So we can obviously take u as a plus ib and v as c plus id. Clear? Clear? Acha, if uv is 1 plus I, then the conjugate of uv is 1 minus I, conjugacy theorem of complex numbers. Then uv times the conjugate of uv is 2. Is 2. Now 2 is prime number. 2 is a prime number. What does that make? So what does that make? Acha, we can do one more thing from here. We can do that uv modulus whole square is equals to 2. Okay. From here we can say mod u square times mod v square equals 2. Since 2 is prime, so that implies either mod u square is 2 or mod v square is 2. Clear? Clear? Or if this happens, then you have mod v square as 1 and mod u square as 1 here. Is it clear? Is it clear? So without loss of generality, what we can choose? Say mod u is 1. What does that make? A square plus b square equals 1. A square plus b square equals 1. Then what does that give you? A is equals to plus minus 1 or b is equals to plus minus 1. So that means that u is a unit, because u is 1 minus 1 I or minus I, any one from this particular element. This is a result. That means 1 plus I equals to uv implies u is unit, therefore 1 plus I is irreducible. Therefore 1 plus I is irreducible. Have you got this particular thing, guys? Have you understood this particular concept? Have you understood this particular concept? Similarly, you can check it for, let's say, let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's say you have show that 1 plus 4i is irreducible in Zi. Now do it. This is non-zero non-unit. Let 1 plus 4i equals u times v, where u and v belong to this set Zi. What do we get from here, guys? uv times the conjugate of uv is equals to 17. From here we get uv mod square equals 17. That means u square times v mod square equals to 17. So either of them is 1, because 17 is prime. We take without loss of generality, mod u square equals 1, and from here what do we get? A square plus b square equals 1, and again we get a is equals to plus minus 1 or b is equals to plus minus 1. This makes u one of the elements of 1 minus 1 I minus I. Therefore u is a unit, which makes 1 plus 4i irreducible, which makes 1 plus 4i irreducible in Zi. Clear? Okay, so if you have noticed one thing when I was solving these questions, that whenever you have some a plus ib in Zi, it is irreducible if a square plus b square is prime. Okay, a plus ib is irreducible in Zi if a square plus b square is prime. Is it clear? Similarly, 2, 3, 5 are irreducibles in Zi, or you might say 1 plus 6i, 1 plus 2i, these are also irreducibles in Zi. Okay, so let this lecture be up till this much, guys. In the next lecture we will be talking about principal ideal domain, and we will be moving on towards ring homomorphism. So meet you guys in the next lecture.